Should we be teaching coding to every student? I don't think so. That's next on the EdTech vlog. Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Harris. Let's talk about coding. So a few years back, I actually did an entire set on coding and how I thought it was a universal skill that everybody needed to have. And today I'm pretty much just going to blow that completely out of the water. In the last few weeks, I've written a couple pieces around the lack of need or the immaturity of need to teach STEM or STEAM and coding to students. I just don't think it's right. Now that's not true. I mean, let's not make it that simple. I think that coding and STEAM are incredibly valuable. But when you teach them as they're set up right now, just as a language similar to what I've got over here, I don't think that's right. Or STEAM just as a set of competencies or skills, I don't think that's right. I don't think that the STEAM areas, STEM areas, whatever you want to call them, or coding in isolation is really what we need to be teaching. I think that's a bit immature. It's kind of like, would you want to teach language and literacy just by teaching French or English or Spanish or Chinese? No. There's more to it. There's nuance around communication, and that's really what we're trying to get with students. So I don't want you to hear me saying that I don't think we should teach coding, although I did kind of just say that. What I'm saying is coding needs to be part of a broader view of what really is needed by students these days. What do we really need to teach them? We need to teach them around things like computational thinking and design and problem solving and using skills for purpose. And that's where I find the challenge with STEM as well. We're teaching science and technology and engineering and math, but we don't need that. Those are more, for lack of a better term, those are factory workers in those fields. We don't need purely scientists, we need thinkers. This information age is suggesting that we need people that can take scientific knowledge and put it to purpose. So what I'm suggesting here is not that we don't teach coding or we don't teach STEM, but we don't do it as the end-all be-all of outcomes for learning. We need to be teaching about computational thinking and using coding as a way to get to that space where students can think algorithmically and logically and using coding to understand how to take that thinking and putting it into practice. It's almost like the practicalities of the skill that they really need to have. When it comes to STEM and STEAM fields, I do want them to have those skills. Of course, we're not teaching enough science and technology and engineering and math and the arts and any of those sorts of fields, but I don't think that they should be taught in isolation. They shouldn't be taught just from a conceptual level or just how to do experimentation or just how to do the math. There has to be a context. And not just a context that is immediate to the students, but you have to teach them how to use those things to solve real-world tasks and problems. So this notion of design thinking and problem-based instruction, challenge-based learning, that's where the real value lies. Because as students get out of school, they'll have to have these skills of science and technology and coding. They'll have to have that to some degree. But if they don't have the basis of understanding on how to think, then there's really not a whole value in it. So what I'm suggesting is that instead of saying we don't need to teach coding, I think we need to graduate beyond coding. Coding, it was a beginning point. It was elementary school. Now let's move on to high school or middle school or even on in college and get into the depth of learning around computational thinking towards real world ideas. You know, teach the students what are the complexities around a self-driving car, and then how would they do some basic coding to solve maybe one element of that problem. What are the computational thinking aspects of understanding the inputs as one drives or the possible changes, the road conditions. Those are the skills that are going to serve them incredibly well. And if they understand that and then start developing the literacy around coding, then later on they can just shift from one coding language to another. And the same with the sciences or technology or engineering. If we base it in some sort of design or problem-based thinking, then it takes true value. So what I'm suggesting is for schools, stop with the STEM, stop with the coding, use those as a stepping stone to something better and broader. Then you're really doing a service to your students. So if I was a parent or an administrator, I would want to ask in real depth to my schools, why are you doing this? Are we looking just to create more coders or more scientists? No, I want problem solvers and thinkers. That's my thought. So hey, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel below. And please follow me on Twitter, @MattHarrisEdD. We can talk about these things more and more. I'd love to hear your thoughts on coding and STEAM and STEM and all of those particular areas. Thanks a lot for joining. Have a good day.